What's up, Soulful Leaders? Welcome to the Soulful Leader Podcast. I'm your host, Maura Barclay. I'm a transformational leadership consultant and a neurofacilitation practitioner. So I want to introduce you to a concept that I use with my transformational clients, coaching clients all the time. Naturally, people are consistently held back by fear of failure. This is such a thing. Especially my recovering perfectionists out there. Well, let's just say you spot it, you got it, right? So a lot of my clients that find me, they find me because of the things that I have transmuted, the things that I have had to work through myself. And being a perfectionist, man, it's rough. And I know a lot of you listening are dealing with the same thing. So perfectionism, it is just a creativity killer, man. It is so hard. And it's a control thing, right? You got to keep everything like in your zone. You're like hyper controlling, type A, driven. Yeah, you don't want anything to go wrong. And if it does, it's not going to be because of you, right? And another thing that perfectionists tend to do, which is deeply stressful, not just to you, but those around you, is you love that 2% that isn't working. I'll tell you, the perfectionists that I've worked with, I'm like, well, how's the business going? Oh, yeah, that's all good. Okay, well, how's this going? Yeah, that's good too. Well, how's that going? Yeah, that's cranking. That's on lock. I'm like, well, what's going on? It's this little tiny thing over here that I can't seem to control that is making me crazy because I can't control it. I can't fix it. I can't make it perfect. It's like 98% of the stuff is fantastic. And the 2% ain't working for you. So this is not actually, that'll be another podcast talking about perfectionism. But part of the perfectionism is not having no tolerance for failure. And a lot of my clients are really freaking out about trying something because of the fail factor. And I've just come to the conclusion that failure is a concept of the ego. It's a concept of the ego. When you are in pursuit of learning, there is no failure. There is only feedback. And when are we ever not in the pursuit of learning? If you have a growth mindset, you are always in the pursuit of learning. End of story. So if you can apply growth mindset to every project that you're doing, and of course, expectation management is a very big piece of this, then, well, yes, there's metrics that you're looking for. And if the metrics don't develop based on the decisions that you've made and the actions that you've taken, you and or your team, that is teaching you something. So it's obviously, process mastery is critical so that you can measure every piece of a project or an endeavor. But let's just open this way up here. People with a growth mindset often don't want to apply it when their ego's on the line, when it's FaceTime. And I'm not talking about the phone call. I'm talking about if this project doesn't go how we have forecasted, I got egg all over my face. Suddenly growth mindset's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't live here. It's all growth. Now, naturally, work culture impacts the ability to embrace this concept 100%. If you work in a kind of environment where mistakes aren't tolerated because mistakes are deadly, that's one thing. We're not looking for, hey, let's throw spaghetti against the wall and see if it sticks when you're in air traffic control. No, that's not what I'm suggesting. I worked as an EMT on an ambulance and a firefighter. That's not when you want to make mistakes. Mistakes still happen. I mean, come on, doctors practice. Doctors go to school for 7 years. They're always practicing, aren't they? Right? So we do our best. Surgeons make mistakes. Surgical precision. Surgeons make mistakes. So I first wanted to give you some perspective so that you could go ahead and take a deep breath and let yourself off the hook. Perfection ain't happening. When you have a well-oiled machine and you've got great metrics and you've got, repeatable stuff, that's great. Enjoy that. When you are exploring or trying something new or different, innovation, naturally, there's going to be unexpected feedback. So let me dig in just a little bit deeper here. It is the ego who puts, and again, this is a part of culture and business. It is the ego and the function of the ego that said, this was bad, this was, you're bad, you're incompetent, etc. If you've put in your very best effort with your team and then you don't get the results that you had intended. Not much can be done about culture. However, you can stand in your integrity and recognize that you did the best with the information and the resources you had at the time. Oftentimes, it is in fact the very feedback that people are afraid of, the stuff that maybe wasn't promised, right? The feedback that you receive when something doesn't go the way you anticipated, that is the feedback that gets you where you want to go. It's like in a brainstorming session. All ideas are valid, and they must be valid for the following reason. The whole purpose of a brainstorm is to take the collective consciousness in a room and inspire the ultimate idea that is the solution, the strategy, or the answer you're looking for. And oftentimes that comes from the 57th idea that was thrown out. And it's the 57th idea that created that one little thing that inspired somebody in the room to get to the 65th idea, which is the idea that you needed. But you never would have gotten to 65 if you didn't let the first 57 flow. It's this constraint, this immediate evaluation and chucking out of ideas that absolutely kills innovation. And this notion of innovation without failure is absolutely ridiculous. The people aren't ridiculous. The notion is ridiculous. Innovation means there's no there. Do you remember the first Apple computer? For those of you under the age of 40, probably not. Am I dating myself right now? When the first Apple computer came out, I was the first person to be like, what is that? And what planet did it come from? And the innovation continued. We revere innovators. We revel in their genius and in their courage. And some of them have to be at the top of the food chain, like Steve Jobs and Elon Musk, because when you're working for organizations and you want to innovate with their money, they're like, that sounds risky. Unless you work for a corporation or a business that it's your business to innovate, and they're familiar with the growth mindset needed to take these types of, we'll call them calculated risks. The point is here, no matter what you do, if you have made the best decision that you absolutely could have made with the information and resources you had at the time, you need to let yourself off the hook for any information that came to light as a result of that effort or that came up after the fact. It is, in fact, that information that is going to create a better result the next time. That is not a failure. I'm trying to remember all the times that Ford failed before he actually got the car that he wanted, and all of the mishigas of him saying, this is what I want the engine to look like, and his engineers going like, we can't do that. And he did it. Remember, when you're innovating, that you're making a there where there is no there. And for people who lack your imagination or your vision, they can't see it. But what they can see is risk. And that's scary. So as you move through your life, personally and professionally and spiritually, recognize that if you are truly in a growth mindset, that is the soft landing that will cushion you every time when you get results from your best effort that are suboptimal. And it is those suboptimal results that will create the optimization in the long run. So give yourself a break and be kind to yourself. Be kind to your team. And recognize that if you have a way to help elevate the culture of wherever you are working or living, whatever you are doing, to be more open to this concept, then you start to create an environment where more people are free to be visionaries. More people they're more likely to be brave and come forth with their ideas because you have made it okay. They're not going to get stomped on. It's a very high value proposition if you're willing to let go of the ego and see the gift in the feedback, personal or professional. I hope this has been helpful. I have a live show on Instagram, 12:30 p.m. PDT, the Free Lunch Live. I host this show weekly, and the first person who drops a question in the chat gets intuitive transformational coaching from me. My handle is @Soulfuleader, and you see how to spell it here. Please share this podcast with people you think would benefit. And please subscribe so that the next time an episode comes out, you get access to it immediately. I'll be having some guests come on from all over different sectors of business to talk to you about how they're holding it down for conscious leadership in their businesses, Fortune 500 companies, etc. You're not a weirdo. Human beings coming to work with other human beings. I hope you'll join me. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Be well, and I'll see you soon. Thanks for listening.